Hello, I am the 10th Umbral Calamity, but you may call me Carbuncle. I have been summoned because I heard you guys can't even meet the DPS check. Yeah, I checked the logs. It's bad. To get good, consider pressing the red subscription button. Or not, and just let your DPS suffer. Hey, you might be good enough to beat this fellow. Barely. Okay, I'm done lecturing. Get back to watching these scrubs talk about stuff.
Oh, he's dead. He's not dead.
What do you mean he's not dead? Are you playing Elden Ring now?
What? No. Definitely not playing Elden Ring right now.
If y'all haven't known, Elden Ring came out last week, and this man is addicted.
What?
He been sucking some long style for $1.25 just to play fucking Elden Ring.
Listen, we need to get through this podcast so I can play some more Elden Ring. All right, what's up, folks? What's up, folks? So today we're gonna talk about. All right, let me pause this real quick. I'm watching someone play Elden Ring instead of playing it.
What the fuck? Seriously, man? Fuck. This man.
We're gonna talk about Final Fantasy. I know we haven't talked about Final Fantasy in a while. Because of all the other fun, amazing games coming out. You know, like Elden Ring. So okay, this was a video idea I had for a while, and it's kind of just been on the back burner. And then Square Enix in their last live letter, I think it was, but in their last live letter, 68,
I think. Yeah.
Oh, the next one gets to be 69. Boy.
Everybody gonna say nice and shit, man.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna be like, oh, nice live letter. I've been playing Final Fantasy since fucking Realm Reborn. And I feel like there's still some things that I felt like the game could have improved on. And I was making a list of those things to make a video on how they can better the game. Because it's not perfect. I mean, no game is perfect. So,
right.
Despite what some people might think. But yeah, then they had their live letter with the announcements of game updates that they plan on making for the game. And this kind of they talk about some of the things I have here that I wish they would have improved on. So I'm just going to go over my list, and then we'll also talk about some of the things that were talked about in the live letter itself. And we could just kind of talk about how we feel about it and whatnot. All right, so starting with number one, the game needs to be streamlined. Mainly, this might just be the story, right? A Realm Reborn specifically needs to be streamlined. I believe there is a graph that shows the number of quests in the main scenario for each expansion, and I think A Realm Reborn and Heaven's Ward were like extremely overinflated with quests. I don't have the graph right here next to me, but they need to limit some of the quests. Some of the quests are not really necessary for you to understand the story. You have a lot of fetch quests and stuff where they're like, oh, go talk to this person here. Now come back to the person you talked to originally. You know, they need to streamline the story to make it a little bit easier for people to catch up if they just want to. Because most people, if you're just doing the main scenario, you still got to do like 60 plus quests, right? Just to get through a Realm Reborn. And that takes a minute. Like, streamline it. And you'll be like level 70 and you haven't even hit Heaven's Ward left. You know, it gets kind of ridiculous. So I also put on here teleporting back and forth should be free.
Okay.
It's an argument that can be made with teleporting because it's like the whole thing is for the economy, right? And it made no sense to me because I was just like, why does teleporting cost money at all? Like, there's no reason for it to cost money. And when you have quests that have you going back and forth to the same NPC, it's like, why am I paying, 500, 25, 100, to teleport? Like, there's no reason. But I understand now that it's in there for the economy. It's to limit like inflation, because it's like the game has quests that give you money, but if they don't find some way to also take away that money, it pretty much imbalances the economy for the game. Mm-hmm. So it's like I take that one back. It's teleporting costing money is fine. Now I don't want it to cause ridiculous amounts, but they already addressed that. But I mean, there are other ways you can limit how much teleport costs. Like you got the tickets that makes your teleports free. I think if you like registered with the app or something, you can get like one free teleport, and so there are other ways to limit that. Fucking Castrum and Praetorium are being redesigned to being 4-man dungeons.
Really? Oh
yes.
Shit.
So
that's good.
We will no longer have an MSQ roulette.
Wait, then my experience.
Yeah, right. Your experience.
Where else would I?
I mean, hey, better get it in leveling, I guess. But yeah, MSQ will eventually be removed. I don't think they specified exactly what patch they're going to do this, but they are working on it. But people hated doing Castrum and Praetorium because you couldn't skip the cutscenes. Yeah. So now you no longer have to worry about that. It's being redesigned as a 4-person duty. So that helps with that. I think Total Rack is being updated with the floor glue, floor goo. That it slows you down and shit in the Total Rack dungeon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be completely removed.
Oh,
so there will be no more of the floor goo slowing you down in Total Rack anymore. And apparently a bunch of people cheered for this. And then also the hardest dungeon in the game will no longer be a multiplayer dungeon. It's going to be a single player MSQ fight.
What's the hardest dungeon in the game?
The hardest dungeon in the game? Fucking Cape Westwind, bro.
What?
Yeah, Cape Westwind, the hardest quest in the game.
Will you kill that one guy?
Yeah. It's the hardest quest in the game.
Shut up, man.
What are you talking about?
Hey, it's not the hardest quest in the game.
Everybody knows Cape Westwind is the hardest quest in the game. It's usually where people quit the game because they cannot beat it. It is so hard.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Come on, tell me the Carfax, man.
What are you talking about? It's the hardest quest in the game.
They didn't say that. Shut up, man.
They straight up said that. Yeah,
that is not the hardest quest.
They removing it. It's gonna be a solo instant duty. So
it's the easiest one.
Shut up. No, it's the hardest quest.
You don't even do. There's no mechanics to it. You just hit him.
Bro, have you seen the? I need you to look up the guide for Cape Westwind. I swear to God, it's got the most ridiculous mechanics you've ever seen.
Shut up, bro. Shut up, bro. You're so dumb. God damn.
Anyways, moving on to number 2, the new player experience. So there's a lot of things that could be improved for the new player experience. And I mean, again, they went over a lot of this stuff to help the people who... There's a lot of people who play Final Fantasy, right? But there's not a lot of people who play Final Fantasy 14 or Final Fantasy 11 because they don't want to play MMOs. They just want to play their single-player Final Fantasy experience. So they're trying to get more of those Final Fantasy fans to play 14, but they can still have their single-player experience in an MMO. Because a lot of people, that's what they want. Most people don't want to... I mean, I won't say most people. Some people don't want to interact with everybody in their game. They just want to be in a game that feels lived in, right? Like just seeing people walking around, emoting, doing stuff. It feels nice in an MMO, but at the same time, you just want to do your own stuff. You don't want to have to interact with those people, but you just want to be in a world that feels lived in. It's just some people, they feel like that. But as far as the new player experience, God, there is so much that could be improved. New players doing dungeons. Pretty much teaching the players how to play their job.
Is this part of your list now?
Yeah, this is part of the list.
Okay.
But yeah, the new player experience of them doing dungeons and learning how to do their jobs. I feel like you need to teach people how to do their jobs before you teach them mechanics in dungeons.
I feel like you should go with mechanics first. I could talk about it a little bit more because I have that on my list too. Okay. A little bit. But I can go into that more.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to say it right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'll say it right now. So it was actually the first one in my list. So you know how there's a Hollow Novice like up to level 15, right? Mm-hmm. So like Hollow Novice level 15, I guess that's kind of good. That's kind of okay, right? But it shows you in the very beginning. It shows you get out of the red circles, like see these icons. Like you don't want to stand in them, right? And and take them through the game of main scenario of training them on these icons, right? Throughout main scenario quests. Not like side quests, main scenario.
They're pretty much teaching people the basics of the game.
And then when you get to level 50, it's a advanced form of Hollow Novice. It's not like Hollow Intermediate, but Hollow Novice where it tells you, I guess, the like the rotation of your class. It tells you what is the spark in your class. Okay. Pretty much, right? They kind of did this already when it came to Reaper, right? The Reaper in Sage, you go into a dungeon and they say like, this skill allows you to heal me while in the same time attack other enemies. Go ahead and use the skill now. You have to use that skill now before you actually go further inside the job guide or whatever, right?
Right.
To get your skills and shit. And once you do that, you're like, oh shit. Okay, so this is how the class works. Because right now we have all these other classes, and we don't really... No one would really know too much of how the class works. Most people won't know how the class works unless they watch a video or they really scratch their head around it and figure out themselves, right? And
just bump their heads into the wall until it fixes itself.
Exactly. And no one, I don't think most people are going to watch a video, and I don't think most people will try to bang their heads around it. They just want to play the game.
Right.
So if you can streamline that and say, hey, this is how you play your class, then there you go.
Right. I feel like level 50 is probably a little too late for that. Because I've had...
The reason why I say level 50 is because...
I understand why you're saying it is because that's really when... That's like when you have all the tools to do your job for every job, right?
Yeah, like that's like it's your basic form there, right?
But I mean, I still say there are certain things... Like the Hollow Novice... I feel like Hollow Novice probably needs to be upgraded. It needs to be upgraded to teach people about up to level 30 how to do whatever it is their role needs to do. Like tanks need to know how to tank and what amenity is and how to keep aggro and what their tank stances are. Mainly for them. Mm-hmm. DPS... I don't think there's really much you need to teach DPS, but the difference between a single target attack and an AoE attack You know, so they know, okay, if there's a group of enemies, I should AoE them down, and if there's one enemy, I should single target them.
But also for like DPS, you have the ability to like stun some things, or you have like little things like the role class actions.
Right.
Role class actions are very important as well.
Yeah. Because at level 50, I feel like that's when tanks need to know what Shirk is. Because there's tanks that do not use Shirk.
Nope. Steve, man. Yeah, Steve, bro.
Legend of Steve, bro.
To this day, he's still stuck in P1S. He's still in that dungeon. I'm telling you.
But yeah, I feel like there's a lot more they need to do with the Hall of Novice, and they need to make an advanced version of Hall of Novice, like you said, at about level 50. But yeah, it definitely needs to be improved. Hall of Novice does not teach people, nor do many people even go into the Hall of Novice.
Because there's really no point into it anymore. But like that's another thing I was going to talk about too. Like elaborating on number one is that having more. And
they need to give them gear that'll scale up to like level 50 or something like that.
Yeah, gear that's scaling up to level 50, which will pretty much empty out any trash gear in level 50 area, right? So you'll have more time to like, I guess it'll eliminate the amount of gear you have or whatever. It might be boring, but eliminate. No, actually, it won't be boring. Like it'll eliminate the amount of gear that person will have up to level 50, and so their inventory won't be hog full of stuff. Right. You can still get the gear, but you can just, use it for glamour or something like that.
Right. Or sell it or dismantle it.
Right, exactly. And so that's what I think that's what this 1 to level 50 really needs to be. Mm-hmm. It's either that, or once you get to level, like once the next expansion comes out or whatnot, right? It'll be like level 100. It's either that they have reduced them to 1 to 50, right? Or they would have to squish everything down, because we're at that point.
Yeah, we're at that point. Other things that help improve the new player experience would be, I don't know really how they can fix this or improve it. Older players taking time to teach new players, like the novice system. I don't know if you have anything. You have any?
I have something for that.
Okay,
I have.
Cool.
So, do you? Are you finished with whatever you're saying, or can I get going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So, my whole thing is revamping the mentor system. So the mentor system is really for those older players helping out the newer players, but
the crowns.
Right, the crowns. But lately, they don't care about that. They care about getting a mount, right?
Or just getting the crown itself.
Or gloating about it.
Look, I got this. I'm a mentor.
Right,
you've never mentored a person a day of your life.
Exactly, and so I feel like there should be a hard way of saying, hey, especially like what class you're in, right? That's the main thing. Mentor for specific classes. Mentor
for specific classes, or at least specific roles.
Yeah, specific
like you can just do PvE mentor. Like that's too broad.
Yeah, it's very broad. But if let's say I'm a mentor for a monk, right? I would have to complete, like, there should be like certain requirements for like being an actual mentor for a monk, where like maybe I
mean, honestly, if they were just to do mentor classes for roles, and of course like DPS, you would break it down to physical DPS, physical range DPS, and like casters. You know, you would break it down like that, and I would say you need to have every job in that class leveled, and then of course all the other stuff with accommodations and whatever.
Not only that, but not only that, like you can have it leveled, but you have to do as many dungeons with that class. So like you have to complete content with that class. So for example,
keep up with that? Like, is there a database that can keep up with that type of information that says, "Oh, you've done this many"? I mean, I guess you can. If they can keep up with that type of information to be like, "Oh, well, this person has done this many dungeons with this role, so they should have enough, information to be a mentor for this."
Yeah, it's either that you do enough dungeons with this class, or do the latest or current content with this class, doing everything with that certain class.
I say doing a certain number of dungeons I feel like should be required, because some people could just level stuff with like deep dungeon, or they just bought it. Just bought a level skip.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying though. Like, let's say you do like a certain amount of dungeons. I can just run Sastasha all day. And not actually learning the actual current of that class. So that's why I'm saying the current area, so you know everything current about it. And so when someone asks you how to play ninja or how to play monk, you know it in the back of your hand because you played all the current stuff with it.
I mean, you would still have to have the class leveled though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to be max level with those classes.
Right, so
without
if you
a doubt,
max leveled and you had to do a certain number of dungeons, I would say the person should know. There's no way nobody's gonna sit there and just run Sastasha over and over.
I mean, you have to realize that the inevitable, or like people that just do weird stuff, you have to believe that, right? You can never control that, and so that's why you put a gate and say, hey, like, no, you can't run Sastasha or anything. You have to do current stuff like at max level, because that's what the mentor should be. The mentors are for people that did stuff current. They're max level. They know the ins and out in that max level range. And so if anybody need help with the DPS, you can just talk to them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I still say that if they need to have mentors for each class, or they need to have mentors for like each divided role.
Yeah.
So like you have pure healers and then you have shield healers. Those would be separate. And then all the different DPS, physical, range, caster, those need to be separated.
And like what would be really cool if they have that mentor chat or whatnot, but you can filter it by what we said, like, okay, well, I want all shield healers, or something like that. And so you have a full list of people that talk to you about shield healing.
Yeah, and they're just in chat talking about shield healing.
Right.
I feel like that would be much better, and people would actually be worthy of the crown.
Exactly. I feel it, because, like, honestly, you can get the crown right now just by getting 3 classes up. Like, I met one person that really didn't know how to tank, but he wanted to be a mentor. And I was looking at the stuff he meant, like how he like fights like as a tank. I'm like, no, you can't be a mentor. I'm sorry, you have to play more. Like, he was like a level 60, and this was in Shadowbringers. I'm like, bro.
It's like, you're a zombie. We need to cut off the arm. You cannot infect the rest of the world.
Yeah, you cannot. Like, something like this just need to happen. Is there another thing on your list?
Yeah. As far as the new player experience, I have on here. Everybody wants to play DPS, which is an issue, because you just have an influx of DPS, and that makes the duty roulettes kind of ridiculous. So for like a new player, if they want to play DPS, the time to wait in queue for DPS is kind of ridiculous. But they're improving on this with the trust system. so it won't be as bad. So as you're leveling, even if you're playing DPS, you can use the trust system, so you don't have to wait in a really long queue to do your stuff. So that's not really too much of an issue.
Well, I will say when it comes to higher content, like if you want experts.
We're talking about the new player experience.
Okay, new player. Okay. All right. New player experience. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I get it. I would say high expectations at the start. And this just goes back to like one of my friends who played this game, and I think she's like the first dungeon, and she didn't know what she was doing. She's playing Archer, and she's just like, I'm just shooting things, pew pew, jumping around, new player shit.
Yeah.
And like, I guess the people were typing in chat, and she wasn't paying attention to the chat, talking about she's not doing her rotation properly, and ended up eventually voting to kick her out of the duty. So it's like, as a DPS, early game, you wait in like an hour-long queue, get into your duty, start to do the stuff, and then get kicked because somebody says you're not doing your rotation properly.
That's a problem.
It's a bit ridiculous. And I mean, there's not really much you could do about that. It's just one of the examples of expectations being too high. You can't expect somebody who's just starting. It's like, most people are I don't know who these people were. If I was there, I would have like trash talked those people 100%. But I wasn't there. And like most people, if you see somebody with a leaf, oh, this is a new person. I need to take time with them, make sure they know what's going on, make sure I tell them how to do their stuff properly.
What I wondered is that how they say like, oh, you got a new player, right? Like in the game and whatnot. How come they didn't give like they do give people like buffs for new players, like they give buffs for people that are new to the dungeon but not new players, if you know what I mean. If you have a new leaf, right, I feel like you should give an incentive to like, hey, they're probably going to have a tough time with this new leaf, give everybody a buff. Right. If that person get kicked or like leaves for any odd reason, then that buff go away.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like at that point, a leaf should definitely give everybody like an experience buff or something like that.
Because they have that, but just only for mentors, and that doesn't really help. It doesn't really help it like everyone else. Mm-hmm. It just only helped that mentor with that leaf, and it's like, well, if she's no longer with that mentor, then she's gonna still have a tough time in dungeons because people want to kick her.
Right. And I mean, if I want to go back and just talk about my first experience as a tank, because when I first started playing this game, well, technically my first class was Lancer, and then eventually I switched to Gladiator. But anyways, so I played Paladin, and I didn't know what I was doing up until God, what's that dungeon? It's the dungeon with the dragon that just falls down, and he's like, oh, the dragon at the end that shoots the poison and puts the poison puddles on the floor. Do you remember the name of that dungeon?
Oh, Brayfox?
It's like, is that Brayfox? Yeah, I guess it's Brayfox. Brayfox Longstock, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Longstock.
That dungeon was the first dungeon I learned how to properly tank. Because I mean, things were way different back then. With the tank stands, you had the DPS and the tank stands, and I didn't know how to do my rotation. I was literally just pressing buttons, right, and just playing the game. And then like some dude just stopped me and was like, "Hold on, I'm gonna teach you how to tank." And I remember his name was Saya. I don't know if it's a guy or girl, but their name was Saya, and they taught me how to tank. But yeah, all the way up to Brayfox Longstock, I did not know how to tank. I didn't know what amenity was. I didn't know what my rotation was. They taught me about my rotation. They taught me about my how to AoE, to hold mobs and pulling with shield lobe, all that. Provoke just in case anything gets away. I learned all that in that dungeon. So it's like I can only imagine what the new player experience is now. You know, if you run into an instance and you do Bray Fox long stop and the tank doesn't know what he's doing and you're just like, tank, put on your tank stance. And he's like, oh, what? You know?
Yeah. I think so. One thing I have to admit is that, like, humans, if there's some fun environment, I don't think people are going to read stuff, right? Especially if they get in like an action or something like that, right? Rarely people read anything, and so like that. So again, there should be a something that would tell them explicitly or show them explicitly, so like things like this will happen, right?
Right. But last thing is paying for a job skip. I just feel like that's just an issue.
Yeah.
And to go back to another one of my friends who I tried to get to play the game's experience. So I tried to get them to play around the time of Stormblood, and they were just like, well, I just want to, you know, play and play with you and wherever you are in the game. So he just wanted to play up to the point where I was. So I didn't know that he was doing this, but before I found out he was doing it, he had already done it. He had bought a level skip to skip up in levels, and then he had bought the story skip to Stormblood. And so he gets to Stormblood and he's playing Black Mage.
Oh no!
He has never played the game and he's never played Black Mage. So he goes out into the world and he's dying to like the normal mobs in the world because there's just so many buttons and so much stuff that goes into a level 70 class, you know, and how to play the class properly. I mean, I think it starts at 60 in Stormblood. You level to 70, but yeah, 60, 70 doesn't matter. But yeah, it was too much. It was too much. He didn't know what to do, and he ended up just quitting because he was just like, yeah, it's a bit much. It's overwhelmed him. So he quit. So like the job skip potion, like if people want to pay to skip is one thing, but give people a direction, like push them to something that's going to teach them, like force them. Hey, you skipped all this stuff that happened in this game? Sit down, big boy. I'm about to teach you how to play that big boy class that you got right there. Yeah. You know, something. You can't just allow people to buy skip potions and skip everything. Jeez. And then they go out into the world and then they end up quitting because they don't know what the hell to do. It's you done thrown them to the wolves pretty much.
That's crazy. I would never thought that.
But yeah, I mean, it's happened. Happened to somebody I know. So yeah, it's a skip potion. Again, people have issues with skip potions is one thing. If you're gonna have them in your game, you need to teach people how to do their jobs properly. Like you have to, because it's just you end up running into situations like this where you have people at high level content that don't even know the first thing about their class or the game in general. But yeah, that's all I have for the new player experience. We can move on to the next thing. Unless you have something else you want to add to that.
Well, I have my own list too. But what will be the next thing though?
Okay. All right. My next thing is it's expensive.
Oh,
it's just straight up expensive.
The game itself?
Yeah. Final Fantasy, because you have to buy the game, then you have to pay for a sub, then you have to pay for expansion, and the game is online only, so you better have internet. It's a lot to ask someone to get into. It's like, think if like you're like a high school student, you've seen this game, and you're just like, oh, this game looks really cool, I want to play it. And it's just like, yeah, about that. You might not be ready for this. So, yeah, it's expensive as hell. So I feel like they need to do something so it's just not as expensive for people to get into. I don't know if free to play is really the way, but then you look at stuff like Lost Ark and how well that game did because it's free to play. How many people were playing that shit day one? Because it's free to play. Like Final Fantasy is already popular. I'm sure if they went free to play, like fucking hell, everybody be playing that shit.
Honestly,
like,
if it's free to play, it kind of becomes a pay to win.
I don't. How would the game become play to win if you make the game free?
So you have to think about. Like. All the money they're going to be losing when it becomes free to play, right? Like at a certain point, it does become free to play, right? Where you say like 1 through level 60, that's good, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean they do have the free trial, which is available now. You should try the free trial for Final Fantasy up to level 60 of Heaven's Ward.
But so the reason why I say it becomes pay to win, because if everything is free, right? There's some residual, like there's something that need to be bought. Something that need to be bought. Like they need to get some type of money out of this, right? So for example, you have WoW. I know that's a subscription, right? But they added this neat little way of, well, if you play more of the game, you can get time tokens, and these time tokens you can pretty much pay for your sub that way. But it becomes a problem, because then certain things or certain items become pay to win now, because you can just pay for token, you can pay for time for somebody or something like that, just for items and whatnot. And so go ahead.
Well, I'm not saying that the whole game needs to be free, because I think it would have issues, because they would have to find some way to monetize the game. The game is fine as a sub-based game, but what I'm saying is, for like a high school student, or somebody just getting out of high school, let's say even a college student.
Yeah.
You're making the wall to get in big when you have to pay for the game, pay for the sub, pay for all the expansions, and then also have internet, And I mean, honestly, having internet is not that big of a deal nowadays. I think everybody has internet nowadays, but I'm just saying, you still have to pay for it.
Yeah, y'all don't have phones?
I mean, y'all don't have phones? Yeah. But I feel like it's just making the wall of entry higher when you have all these things that you have to do in order to even try out the game. Mm-hmm. Some people, it's just too much. You don't even know if you like it. But then again, you got the free trial, so I guess that helps with that situation. But I mean, before the free trial existed, trying to talk someone into playing the game, and it was just like, I gotta pay for all of this. That's a lot. Which is why I was happy when the free trial came, and I was just like, oh yeah, play the free trial up to level blah blah blah.
Yeah, and like the thing is, the hardest communities are the free trial players. They are they ride or die. They're more than the fucking Savage Raid tiers, because they try to get everything out of that free trial. It's crazy. But okay, what's next?
Next on my list is forced player interaction.
Describe one.
So, a forced queue with players on story dungeons and trials. Again, this is why we're making this video, because this has been fixed to a certain degree. Because now you have the trust system that they're going to update to allow people to use the trust, so they don't have to queue with other people to do story dungeon content.
Okay.
So it's kind of, again, it's kind of novel, but that's why I'm making this video, because stuff is kind of outdated. Not available, just AI to queue in the dungeons. Yeah, trust system. I also put in here, you need the trifecta, but that's just how the game is. You know, you need a tank, healer, DPS for every instance, and that's just what it is.
Yeah,
that's just how the game works. So I mean, yeah, I guess we're gonna move on to the next one. Next thing, the meta. Watch a fucking video.
That's forever going to be in the game. I'm sorry. That's forever going to be in the game, because
I can't fucking stand watch a video mentality, bro. It's so annoying.
In the very beginning, like I'd say, for a month worth of content, like, I feel like, you know, you don't really have to watch a video or anything like that, right? But people are saying, like, yeah, like, on the third day, it's like, hey, have you watched a video how to do this? Like, people coming up with strat for not P1, P2S. Say, hey, did y'all watch a video for Billy strat? I'm like, Billy? Yes, there's a person named Billy, and they made a strat for P2S, and it's fucking frustrating. It's like, because I was like, I don't know what the Billy strat is, because I did this with other people, like with a full static. So we just did it how it should be done. Just like, you know, it's like, wait, what? You know? Oh no, it's P1S, my bad. It's Billy strat for like the tiles. If y'all know what the tiles are. I'll show a picture up. But yeah, like, you're gonna have people like this in every type of game. They'll say, watch a video. You know, if the game doesn't you know, figure out for you. Because in a way I kind of understand that, because if you're really poor in explaining, sometimes I'm really poor in explaining certain mechanics. It would be better for you to actually watch a video, you know. But if you want to figure it out yourself, you know, that's completely fine too. Just let you know, you're going to be dying a lot trying to figure this out.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just like, what if I was playing fucking Elden Ring and then people are just like, watch a video, bro. Watch a video for this fight before I even get to the fight.
No, I mean,
like, no, I want to fucking experience. Like, that's the whole point of the game, right?
Yeah.
Is to experience the fucking video game. I don't want to watch a video. And I mean, this is still going on even at the higher levels. It's not even just a new player thing. It's not a no matter what instance you do, everybody's gonna be like, watch. And the older content gets, the worse it gets. But it's like, even when we were doing Endwalker and we were doing the 2 level 90 dungeons that you unlock, one of the dungeons, the dude was like, do you want me to explain the dungeon as soon as we got in there? And I'm just like, bro, it has not even been 2 days of this content been out, and you're already trying to spoil the entire dungeon for me?
Yeah.
And then we said no, and then he got on. Oh, was like, well, I was just trying to help, you know. And it's just like, fuck you.
Oh, try to give you that guilt, like, man, this is your fault.
Like, it's oh, god damn it. For some reason, I also down here no customization, and I think that has to do with like the fact that every class is played the same. No matter if I play Paladin or you play Paladin, our Paladins will play exactly the same.
Oh yeah, of course.
Unlike a game like Lost Ark, where you have like different builds and stuff, so you can have somebody who plays the same class, but the other person plays that class completely different.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah,
but yeah,
I mean even that,
I think that's that big of a deal.
I don't think, like, honestly, there's going to be a meta to that as well. Right. So you're never going to have that. People are going to play the same.
I mean, everybody doesn't want to play the meta. Some people just want to play shit that's cool. You know, everybody's not always looking for the meta. Yeah, sure. So just having the customization option would be cool. It's not really necessary. So it's like whatever. Also with the meta, I guess that's why I put it in there, because it would have something to do with the meta. You know, if you did have customizations, people, like you said, people would still figure out like what the best build is.
Yeah, the best build, like the best way of doing
it's just
things.
Like in PSO2, it's just like you have to build the class a specific way, you know, and if you fuck up on your skill tree, like, you're fucked. You're completely fucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, so another thing on other classes being better in raids, this has been improved on. But there was times back in the days where like people were like, I was a paladin, they're like, hell nah. Oh, you can't be in our raid, a paladin? Shit. Yeah. Fuck out of here, boy. You know? They have improved on this in many ways, but also the classes start to lose their identities the more they try to give all the the same tools. But this just goes back to the meta. There's always going to be a meta. People are always going to be like, well, this is the best classes to use for this fight. So there's, no matter how you balance it, you're always going to run into the issue of this is the meta. This is what the top 1 percentile classes they were using. They said, oh, this class is doing the least amount of DPS in this raid tier. Don't use this class. And then nobody's like, oh, that class is trash. And it's just like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
All classes complete the content, but they'll just take their shit as fucking gospel and just shit on anybody who plays the lowest DPS class. It's just, it's the meta. I fucking hate the meta in any game.
Yeah.
It's just stop it. Fuck.
It's pretty bad.
Our next topic I put on here is money.
I think we already kind of explained that.
No. Money in the game. Not how much money you have to spend. I'm talking about money in the game.
Yeah, money in the game.
Pretty much getting money in the game. Not how much money you spend to play the game. So pretty much crafting is a pyramid scheme. Straight up. I saying it right now. All you crafters, I'm not crafting, is a fucking pyramid scheme.
Explain why it's a pyramid scheme.
It's because crafters, all right, to craft, right? First, you gotta level all your crafters. All the crafters.
Yeah.
You also pretty much gotta gather, so it is pretty much hand in hand. You're gonna level all the gatherers, you're gonna level all the crafters if you want to craft. And once you get to the point of being at the max level, in order for you to make your money back, because you just spent money, because you had to spend money to get the stuff required to actually craft and be geared as a crafter. So now, for you to start making money and making your money back that you spent to get into crafting, you have to craft crafting gear for the other people who are working on getting up to crafting the gear that you're trying. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know that crafters are going to be leveling, so you craft gear that they're going to be using to level because they need the gear to craft. And then when you get to the high level, then you have the high level gear that has to be crafted. So if people are going to want to buy that, so then you craft that gear and sell it to people who are trying to get to. It's a fucking pyramid scheme.
I mean, you can't. That's like one instance. That's like one way of getting your crafters up, right?
But I'm just saying, it feels like kind of like a pyramid scheme, just a little bit.
I mean, that's like one. That's one way,
right?
Of power leveling your crafters, right? You can have someone power level for you, and then get gear for you, get melded for you, and then that's it, right? And you just sell. You sell where everything you craft. Or
I mean, everybody don't have friends like that, though.
Yeah, no, not everyone have friends like that way. So instead, you have people that would just, buy things off the market, which is completely up to you. You can buy things off the market, or you can craft the gear yourself. And the gear yourself is not harder than it was before. Like crafting in the game now, it's like stupid easy.
But then what do you craft to make money as a crafter? Because people get into crafting because every time someone's like, how do you make money in this game? They say craft.
Yeah.
What do you craft to make money? Because you got to spend that money to become a crafter.
Right. So you would craft like early content gear, right? And you keep on crafting that gear. So like, for example, this newest patch came out, right? Let's say you get like,
yeah, you had Reaper and Sage out there.
No, not like that. Like it's the maiming crafting set, the striking crafting set, casting crafting set. All those crafting sets, raiders will buy them because they don't want to craft. So you're doing the time for them. And so you're selling that, and they need food, they need potions, so you're selling that as well. And you're gonna have a lot of people that say it's like, nah, I don't want to do crafting or anything like that. I don't want to do it. You're gonna have a lot of people like that, and so they're gonna buy that every time from you, and that's how you make your money.
I still say it's a pyramid scheme. Anyways,
it's not a pyramid scheme.
Anyways, mobs give you no money.
That wouldn't make any sense. Why would mobs have money?
Don't they do that in majority of RPGs?
Yeah, but it just doesn't. For me, it just doesn't make any sense. I guess it's like, did they steal a whole bag of coins when they killed somebody or some shit? Like,
if you're thinking about mobs like the bees and the crabs, that would be stupid. But there are,
humanoids, that would make sense. I'll be okay with that.
If there's like a bandit and you kill the bandit and he drops some gold, and like, yeah, okay, I should be able to farm these bandits for gold. I mean, not that much gold, but some amount of gold to where it's like, hey, I have some other way. If I want to just sit here and farm this bandit, I could make some money. Also, money is pointless to most players. Most players, when you hit in-game, money is not really relevant. Like, you spend money on like stuff on the market, and like that's about it. Unless you're like a raider, you're buying like raid food, you're getting like raid gear, the new crafted high quality gear, you pentabuilding, you're buying materials. Outside of that, money is kind of pointless to most casual players, I would say. And buying a house, like that, I think that's about it. Did I forget anything? I think that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. What's the next thing?
I put on here not enough for houses. Not enough houses.
Not enough houses. Yeah, I mean that's going to be a problem. Regardless, because they try to fit into lore, and where there's not, it's really not enough houses, and they might have enough space for it now, but actually they might not have space for it like later on in the game.
I mean, they tried to fix it with the apartments, but it's not the same.
It's not. It's one small room, right? I'd rather have like a 2-story, some type of house, right?
Right. I mean that's what anybody will want, because I mean you're at that age, you might want to look into getting a house for yourself eventually, but at least you can get a house in this video game that you play.
So sorry to interrupt you, but what I'm hoping for is that they're going to have islands in this expansion where you can
I remember hearing about that.
Like you can farm stuff, with the pets and stuff. Yeah. Hopefully you get a house there, so it alleviates the problem. Hopefully it does.
That would be great. I probably would even want a house in the housing districts anymore.
No, I would just keep it
my
there.
own island.
My
own island.
That'd be great.
And I can have pets here too, boy. What?
Yeah, all your minions running around the shit.
That'd be cool. Awesome. Yeah, I hope so. That'd be cool. But yeah, most players, when you get to the end game, you have all that money. You're just like, well, I gotta spend it on something. It's like, well, I guess spend it on a house, I guess. Mm-hmm. So that's why most people spend it on a house. Next thing I have on here, fear of missing out, FOMO. So all right, I'll just talk about it. Weekly cap on tombstones, weekly cap on gear out of raids, 24-man raids, 8-man raids. I don't like having weekly caps on shit. And because there's weekly caps on shit, you can't just play the game at your own leisure. It's like, oh, I need to log in to do things every day to get my weekly cap. And I think about when I was playing PSO2, I wasn't logging in for any caps because that game had no caps for that game. If you want to just farm gear, you just farm the gear, and then you just fully geared, you were good, and like that was it. But like forcing your players to kind of log in every week to get your 8-man done, so you can get your little item that you trade in 7 so that you can get your weapon, that's unnecessary. It's just, I feel like it's unnecessary. I mean, I understand why they do it, because it forces you into a routine of logging in every day, and that keeps you subbed instead of people just completing the content, unsubbing for the game, and then waiting for the next expansion coming back.
I feel like they need more things to get that currency in. Because like right now is what you do, expert or
yeah. I'm not even talking about that. I'm not even talking about that. Yeah, that definitely needs to be improved.
Right.
And that's what makes the content at higher levels unfun for me, because it's like when you're leveling, there's so much shit you can do. There's you have all this old content, and then you have the content they made, like the deep dungeons that you can do. You could just be out in the world. You could do dungeons with friends. You could go hunt mobs. Like there's so much stuff you can do when you're leveling. Once you hit max level, it's just, all right, time to do my expert every day so I can cap, it makes capping just feels so tedious when I'm doing the same 3 dungeons every day.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is not fun. It was just straight up not fun.
Yeah.
Like, give me other ways to get the high level tombstones. I mean, I used to hunt because that was a fun way for me to cap, but hunting has been like so many people hunt now because they're like, oh, I want to hunt so I can get these clusters, so I can get the materials, and then you can either use the materials for raiding or use the materials to sell it on the market. So like the hunting scene has become so inflated, I can't even hunt peacefully now. It's like before, there weren't that many people hunting. I used to hunt. I I think I had like 6 hunt link shells. I was just hunting all the time because I was like, this is fun. I could just kill these monsters in the world, hang out with some people, you know, have some fun. And then I was just like, you can't even get into groups. You have the instances. It gets so bad because it's so congested that you can't even zone into instances to even follow the hunt trains. It's, oh God. It's a mess.
Yeah,
but I'm not even talking about that.
So mainly, FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. That's one of the ways, right? I don't think is there any other fear of missing out?
Yes. If a raid member misses a raid and you have to pug the whole raid, so your raid
for a savage raid,
right? Your raid members being locked out of loot, or let's say you're the raid member, something came up, you can't make your raid day, and then you're just like, I gotta pug it. I gotta find another group to do it with that hasn't cleared it and try to catch up to my raid group so that we can prog together. So then you have to, you know, try to raid with some other group to catch up to get the gear.
Yep.
I don't think this to be improved because they do it to make sure that people don't cheat the system.
Right. Yeah. So I don't think anything going to be done with that. But how about is there any other FOMO?
No, that was all I had for the FOMO.
Okay.
Cap, weekly caps. I hate it, and they need definitely do something better.
All right. So what's next?
Next thing I had on here was how content is released. It's become kind of predictable, and I feel like that.
How content is released?
Yeah, I feel like that. Some people find it like, hey, you know, it's consistent, so you're not surprised as to what you know. Like our next patch, we're gonna have a 24-man raid that's gonna show up. You know, there's gonna be a 24-man. You don't know what the 24-man raid is, but you know they're going to release a 24-man raid in our next patch, and you know because that's the catch-up patch. They're also probably gonna release a dungeon. They're probably going to release a trial. It's going to be an extreme trial. You know, the content, because we've been playing for so long, it becomes predictable as to what they're going to release, which some people find that, you know, hey, I know what they're going to release, so I'm not going to be surprised. So I'm getting what I want, you know, money's worth. And other people might go, oh, well, you know, it makes it less interesting because I don't know what might happen. So I don't really know if this is really a problem or not. I think it really depends on the person, to be honest.
Yeah, it's there's one saying is that you can't really like please everyone, and this is one of those things.
Right.
It's like they're just giving information. I mean, if you don't like that information, then well, it's whatever.
It's not really about the information. It's just the fact that they're not releasing anything to kind of spice it up to make it different. It's just kind of the same thing every. Like,
but I mean, like it's, but that pattern exists, so
you know what's going to happen. So you can be prepared for it. That's all it is. That's all. That's for each MMO.
Mm. I mean, not every MMO follows that, but
they have a pattern in their patches.
Not every MMO has that.
Okay. Oh.
It would be nice if every MMO had that. I honestly think it's a good thing, but some people might find it a little, you know, predictable. But okay. I just put it on there as another thing that could probably improve.
What's next?
I only have one other thing on the list.
Okay.
And this is not that serious. The material system is boring.
The Materia?
The material system is boring.
It's BIS, pretty much.
Improve it. Like, it's just bigger number. It's boring. You could do so much more with the material system. Like, Materia is a is a lore thing in Final Fantasy, and like materia can do so much. Like you have, summoning materia, you have elemental materials. They can find ways to like use the materials to, instead of just giving you a big number, change how some of your moves work, or change how your attacks look. Just anything like that to make it more interesting. I really don't think we even need the material system to give you a bigger number. Who cares? I mean, honestly, I don't care. If you're a raider, you might care about it. I don't care about it. Make the material system more interesting.
I mean, raiding, could be difficult, and then crafting and gathering is going to be difficult as well for materia. Like, that's where most of your money is spent. Buying materia for leveling up your class, so you can craft better things.
Right. But I'm just thinking, like, it would be so cool, like, if you fought a trial or something and it dropped like some rare material that like White Mage Holy turns into Ultima or something like that, like something to make it a little different. And then, like, a new person see, like, yo, what the fuck was that? And they're just like, oh yeah, this material I farmed from Ultima weapon and that turns my Holy into Ultima. I don't know, but that was the last thing I had on there. You can go ahead and start with your list.
All right. I don't really have that much that you have. I didn't know you had that much in your list.
That was it.
So number one, I already talked about, is the Hollow Novice for level 50 players, and it should be streamlined to level 50. So each part of the way, like say level 15, you have a Hollow Novice, and in level 30 you have part 2 of Hollow Novice. Part 3 of Hollow Novice is maybe like, I don't know, 40, and then 50 is your Hall of Novice. It's the main Hall of Novice. It tells you everything about your class at that level, right? And part 2, well, not part 2, but like the number 2 on my list was Hall of Intermediate. Hall of Intermediate, I think, would constantly change throughout like expansions after expansions.
Oh yeah, change. It will update every expansion.
Yeah, it'll update every expansion, and so once you get to max level, it shows you what the basics form of your rotation is, right? It shows you okay, how does your job gauge work? How does, like, not telling you in notes, but actually telling you through like action. It's like, oh, you use this to buff yourself, and so you can hit this guy for max amount of XXX damage or some shit, right? So Hollow Intermediate, I think, should be a thing for that max level rotation. And then if you want to even go further, Hollow Advance would be looking like, I mean, you could just really look it up online. That's my whole thing about it. Is just research on your own, see how can you make this class better. So there's that. There need to be so number 3, there need to be an emphasis on roles. So everything right now is about DPS, no matter what your role is, and so everything becomes just DPS strictly. It becomes a problem when it comes to raids, because certain class or certain classes or jobs in the raid won't do their job because they're focused so much on their DPS. Like, you have tanks and you have healers that say like, oh, I'm a purple parse, oh, I'm a blue parse for DPS. It's like, okay, you're a blue or purple parse of DPS, but you're killing us with our DPS by switching the boss around or playing with the provoke and whatnot. You need to somehow focus on the emphasis of these roles. And so if it's somehow like, maybe if the whole entire I don't think it really can be fixed in like one expansion, but a whole entire raid, look at it and see, okay, what can the tank be doing, so if the tank fuck up, everybody will know the tank did fuck up. Same thing with healers. If they didn't get a heal out on time, everybody's dead. You know what I'm saying? And so they started kind of doing that in this expansion. What I saw, it's because I saw that in P2S there's this one skill that the dragon have. It's like some type of water skill. Okay, some type of skill. If you don't buff that at all, or you don't debuff him at all, he literally wipes the whole entire party. And this is something that constantly pops up like every 20 seconds, right? Is his normal raid wide damage. And so purposefully they say, okay, you need to have your shields, right? If you have shields, you probably still won't survive. Okay, so and then after that it's like, okay, tank, you need to put in your appraisal. If you know reprisal, then you know that this will help the party out, and you probably will survive with one hit point or something like that. You know, so something like that where it's like very drastic that tanks need to do their job and healers need to do their job. DPS will still need a DPS, but also do a little bit of mitigation as well, because you have mantra, right? Like certain fights, monk should be really good because it's like, okay, well, this monk specialized in mantra, let's try to use that into the raid, and so on and so forth for all the mechanics of the raid. Utilize like each class to have an identity in that raid. Okay.
Right.
So there's that. 4, we talked about this a lot. Revamp mentor roulette, right? Mentors for specific class. This needs to be done because right now the only thing for mentors have right now is just for low level content. I never see mentors for high level content, and if I do see them at high level content, they don't help out at all. You know, and so if someone needed help with their class, especially, they would have to go to the Balance Discord, and this Balance Discord have been here for like forever, and everybody always go there because like they need somebody to tell them, hey, here's a whole entire paper, like here's my whole entire thesis about how monk works, right? This is how monk works. And when someone if someone could just told me that before, instead of like me like really reading it, I'm like, oh my god, I've been playing my class all wrong. Even though I've seen myself as a really good monk player, but I still play my class wrong.
Right. I mean, I guess if that's what you was, I mean, bro, you're rating. I mean, you can make mistakes, but you understand how to play the class. So I wouldn't say you're playing the class wrong. I would say you make mistakes here and there.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, the thing is that it could be better. So it's not making mistakes here and there. It's more of there's a reason why you need to do this rotation this specific way.
Yeah, but at least you have the basic understanding that you can do better. You have other people that just think that they're good and they're trash. I'm not gonna say any names or anything, but it's a difference.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's just that well, I'm saying revamp mentor roulette. If somebody needs to know why buffs need to align some place, right? Like we have all these actions. I don't know how would they realign. I understand each one of them, but I don't know how they realign. You need to either talk to somebody about that, or you need to read something about it, or you just have to bang your head at it. And that's the part I'm talking about, right?
Right. Okay.
Because like, yeah, I know the ins and out of like monk and everything, but the reason why buffs need to be together, or why people always say do a double solar rotation, even though it sound crazy to me, it's because you want to realign your buffs. You don't realign your buffs, then you're not doing an optimal amount of damage when it comes to a raid and whatnot. I mean, obviously you're not doing any type of optimal damage, but I would have never known that if someone, didn't say that to me.
So there's that, right? So now 5 need to get rid of old content or revamp them, right? For example, the Grand Company mercs, like the we call them.
Oh, you talking about the squads?
Yeah, squadrons. Yeah, squadrons, right? Squadrons look so cool. Like the idea of them is really cool, but you can't do anything else with them once you reach that max. Like, and they're stuck in like Heaven's Word. They're stuck there forever, and they just sit there. They just sit there.
You just sit there, yeah. You spent all that time,
right?
And it's just like, okay.
Now, if you could if you somehow put them in the trust system, that'd be that'd be crazy, actually. It'd be cool, but it'd be pretty crazy. Or somehow, because obviously the trust system is replacing them now. Like there's no going back to those guys.
Right.
And so and this old content is sitting here just stealing, well, not really stealing the game, but it's taking up space. Unneeded space that I don't think anybody else going to be pretty much using anymore. So might as well everything that you're that's part of that content, you would just transfer it over to somewhere else, or so is another way of getting them, or you can just revamp them and make them current again to where it's actually good doing them. Right now it's really not that important to use them. So there's that, and I think
I don't know if they could do something if they plan on, like, upping the ranking, because I think like there's a certain point where you stop with the grand companies where you can't rank up anymore, or you can't what's it called? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah. I know what you mean, but like we're like up to level 90 now, and our characters are still level 60.
Yeah, I mean, it is annoying, but it's like eventually they plan on adding more of those, what I classify as loot boxes, to the Grand Company pool. Like as we.
But that's what I'm saying though. That's what I'm saying though. Like there should be other ways of leveling up your Grand Company where it just, because right now all of that right there is just a headache to do, where it's not needed anymore. Like, why would I need this anymore? And so it's something extra to do, but you don't earn anything out of it. It's just something you're just waiting. It's just time consuming. And so, like, for that there, it should be either that you revamp it to make it current again, so a lot of people can do it, so a lot of people can get these chests, or you just just get rid of it. And so those chests, I know what chests you're talking about, like in the Grand Company where you can roll for different mounts. Tailor it into some other content, right? Like for example, great example what they did, right? With Diadem. Diadem was dead when it first came out. Well, not when it first came out, but like after a while it became old content. No one does them anymore. And so they revamped it to be part of the what was it, the Ishgard restoration. And so you can gather things there and then come back to Ishgard and just start crafting things. Because beforehand, like, no one used Diadem. Like, I don't understand why people. I don't understand what was that whole entire purpose was, honestly. And you had, like, the only reason why it was current, I think back then, was because it linked to your relic weapon.
Yeah.
So that's the type of thing I'm talking about. Revamp it or get rid of it. Like, same thing with, I don't know what they're going to do with the Palace of Dead and Heaven on High. They're just there. I don't
think they'll get rid of it. They're definitely not gonna revamp it. It's just gonna sit there and be a dead system.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's no point to these dead systems because you're going to because people are gonna like you can do this on your high level character, right? You can do this on your high level character, but you're still going to get poetics at the end. You're not going to get the high level content, so it's like there's no point to them unless you're leveling. But if you leveled up everything already, like really no point. And then if you go to level 70 to level 80, you can't use them anymore because this is Stormblood. You go up to Stormblood. That's it. So there's that. Then number 6. So we talked about this already, but main scenario quests for other expansions. So like you said, they already get rid of.
Yeah, they straight up getting rid of it.
Yeah. But I mean, if they like choose to keep it or whatever, but use main scenario quest for everything, so not just like it was just so weird to me. Like, okay, how come you can't use the main scenario quest in or it's a dungeon, but it's pretty much part of the main scenario in like in Stormblood where you face Xenos, right? That would be cool again because I don't think I ever get that again. If I queue up to like leveling or like what is it, 50, 60, 70, well now 80 now, right? I don't think I would ever get that dungeon again. And so put it in that pool, the main scenario quest pool, and so you can enjoy it again. So
yeah, I guess. But I mean, it is what it is now.
Right.
Yeah, we still got to go over all the changes they plan on making, but I mean, I'm just gonna skim through it. But after you're done with your
I'm done with it.
The changes they plan on making, I mean, I'm just gonna go over it real quick. The trust system is gonna be updated. So that's why a lot of the things I had in this list before was kind of out of date.
Right.
Like I said, they're not gonna be able to do this for everything, and it's gonna slowly roll out. But eventually you'll be able to use the trust system for like content up to probably Stormblood. Eventually, up to Shadowbringers, because in Walker you can already do it. In Walker you can already use the trust system, and there's some duties in Shadowbringer I think you can do it as well, but not every duty.
In dungeons, but not like. So, I don't think it's the trials, but.
Yeah, I think Shadowbringers is gonna eventually get updated. Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, all of it eventually. It's gonna slowly roll out. Like they're talking about like 7.0, so it is like later. You know, we already said they're getting rid of the hardest quest in the game, Cape Westwood. Total Wreck, you're removing the gunk off the floor. Castrum and Praetorium are going to be redesigned to 4-man dungeons. Ultimate Weapon will also be a separate 4-man trial. And La Habrea is going to be a solo duty. So like that whole quest is going to be divided up.
That'd be actually pretty interesting. Because you really don't need 8 people for that whole entire thing.
Yeah, you really don't. But that just means like get it in while you can, man. There would never be talk of, you know, all the memes that came from, you know, such devastation, you know, this was not my intent. Like all this gonna be gone for like newer players. They're not gonna experience any of that. So it's kind of like, you know, rose tinted glasses, graduation goggles, whatever you want to call it. It kind of sucks, but we're happy to see it go. But kind of sucks because it's like, oh man, you know. Also, there's gonna be graphic updates. I'm not really gonna go over everything. Just know that they're trying to update the graphics, and they look really good. And honestly, so I watched a video with Asmin, and he was like, my issue with Final Fantasy is that the game is ugly. And I was just like, how the fuck? How the fuck can anybody say that Final Fantasy graphics look bad when you play WoW? Like, that baffles me. I don't understand. Like, what are you smoking? Where you're just like Final Fantasy? So I never understood that. But he was just like, yeah, the only thing I don't like about Final Fantasy is the graphics. And I'm just like, what?
He's memeing.
I hope he's memeing, but he sounded pretty serious about it. He was just like, yeah, the graphics, man, I just can't. I'm just like, I mean, if you want to compare it to like other games that are like, they're all about the graphics, they're all about the realism, you know, like Black Desert Online or whatever, with the over the top graphics. Yeah, I mean, those are newer MMOs. Of course, their graphics are going to be a little bit better, but I don't think Final Fantasy graphics are to the point where they're bad. Like you can argue like PSO2 graphics, like the original PSO2 graphics was bad. Yeah, that's why they made NGS. Cause they're trying to update the graphics and bring more people into the game, but that didn't work out. Anyways, graphics being updated. Roadmap to patch 6.1. Patch schedules will change. Oh yeah, instead of it being every 3.5 months, it's going to be every 4 months. So we're going to get patches a little bit more spread out now. I think this might be due to COVID. Is going to take them a little bit longer, so they're kind of like, hey, it's going to take us longer. You know, don't expect patches every 3 months. So yeah, that's going to be updated. They plan on finally adding in some more side quests like Hildebrand and shit like that. So that's going to be updated. Of course, plans for new raids and the Island Sanctuary debut. They talked about that. They plan on doing a new deep dungeon for I don't know. I guess because they didn't do one for Shadowbringers, so I guess this is just going to be for Heaven's Ward. I assume. I mean, not Heaven's Ward. Inward.
Oh, okay. I was like, huh?
I'm getting my shit. I'm reading shit and yeah.
That's fine.
They also said plans to update the glamour system. Additional glamour plates, and dresser space will be added starting in 6.1. And I know a lot of people wanted this updated. They were just like, yo, we need more glamour space.
How do they have all the space for this now, though?
I don't know.
And they're going to do a graphical update, too? Something had to go.
And a graphical update. I was like, I guess they're going to discontinue support for PS4. And it was like, no, PS4 support will continue for the next expansion, but they are not sure about beyond that. So PS4 support is still there. Oh yeah, they're also going to roll out the housing system changes. So the loot system for the housing the lotto system will eventually be a thing. Also, like I said, the free trial came back. I think that's about it. Oh yeah, female Hrothgar as well is in development. So they're doing the thing they said they wouldn't do. So this is why you could never trust a company. They were just like, oh yeah, no. In the lore, the Hrothgars are only male, so there are no female Hrothgars. And then they made female Hrothgars, just like they did the male Vieiras. So just know there's another female cat-like beast race that's going to show up eventually. But they're not going to be like the Makotes. I mean, you know what the Hrothgars look like. They're going to look like female versions of those. I don't know exactly what they're going to look like, but it's in development. And that's it. That's it. That's all the changes. We went through everything that we want to see improved, things that they already have planned. Anything else you want to add to this?
No.
Oh yeah, if that's it, I think we can wrap it up.
Yep, we can wrap it up. All right, I'm ending it. Stop recording. Yes. All right, bye.
Oh, everyone. Elden Ring.
You're ridiculous. Okay, I'm ending it now.
Such devastation! This was not my intention.